This
So
conference will now be recorded.
let us say a simple supply chain. So if I start with the customer, so this customer connect with the nearest retailers, right, for any kind of products. And the retailers in turn connect with the respective distribution centers. And the distribution centers in turn connect with the manufacturing plants. And the manufacturing plants depends upon the suppliers or the vendors for the raw materials. If the capacity is not available at the plant, and for the full FG also, it will depend on the supplier, right? So if you consider these are the nodes in our supply chain network, so whatever the requirement you have at the customer node level, okay. So let us say I have a requirement of 100. So now it will move to the retailer, and the retailer will verify whether the stock is available or not. Okay, if the stock is available, then it will try to fulfill that 100. Okay, if not, this 100 will further move on to the DC, and the DC at the DC level it will verify whether my stock is there or not. Okay, if it is not there, then it will further propagate this demands to the manufacturing plant, right? Just a second. Um, so whatever the requirement which is there at the DC, it will verify the stock situation at the DC. If the stock is not available, then it further propagates the demands to the manufacturing plant, right? At the manufacturing plant, it will verify whether the stock is available or not. So if it is available, it will fulfill the DC demand. If not, it will try to produce it, right? So when you are trying to produce it, it has to verify whether all the raw materials are available or not, whether the capacity is available or not. If the capacity is available, and whether the raw materials are available or not. If not, then it has to propagate the demand to the supplier for the raw material, right? So whatever the requirement you have at the downstream node, so that is customer in the supply chain, it propagates to the in the upward direction to the upstream nodes. Those are suppliers. Okay. So if you take any kind of supply chain for any kind of organization, this is the general the process. This is how the demand propagates in the supply chain. So now, if the supplier is fulfilled that a supplier is supplied that raw materials to the manufacturing plant. Okay, so then the manufacturing plant produce that product, right? And then it will fulfill the DC demand, and the DC will fulfill the retailer, and retailer will fulfill the customer demand. Okay, so now, so always the requirement flows from the downstream nodes to the upstream nodes, that is from the customer up to supplier, and the supply will flow from the upstream nodes to the downstream nodes, that is from the supplier to the customer. So now, for any supply chain, to fulfill the customer demand on time, this flow should be optimally set up. So if the customer comes with any kind of requirement, okay, you should be in a position to supply as soon as possible, right? So if you delay it, then it may lead to the customer may switch to some other vendor or some other organization, right? So always in your supply chain network, your ultimate aim of any supply chain network is you need to fulfill the demand on time with the right quality of right quantity on right time, right? So to have that, you need to have a optimized plan for your supply chain network. So just now we talked about only one customer, but in reality we don't have only one customer. N number of customers are there, n number of retailers, and more than one distribution center and the manufacturing plants. So by considering your supply chain network, you should be able to optimizely plan your supply chain. For that, in the market, we have multiple tools are available. We have Anaplan, and we have JDA, and we have Kinaxis. From SAP side, we have SAP APO and SAP IBP. Okay, the a few tools which are available in the market. So now you know in the ERP world, so most of the market is grabbed by the SAP products only, and the SAP solutions are little good compared to all, right? And almost you can say 70% of the market is grabbed by the SAP products only. So now let us concentrate on the SAP provided solutions to handle the supply chain. So those are SAP APO and SAP IBP. So SAP APO is the on-premise solution which is there in the market since last 2 decades. Okay, and to handle the end-to-end supply chain plan, it has a sub divided into further modules. Those are demand planning, DP, supply network planning, okay, and we have PPDS, production planning and detailed scheduling, and then DPUS, transportation and vehicle scheduling, and AADP, sorry, GADP, global availability promise. So with the help of these modules, it will cover the end-to-end supply chain plan. So if we look at the DP, this is a forecasting module. So it will read your historical data and help you to predict a sales for the next 1 year or the 6 months and all. So basically, it's a long-term plan. So for the next 1 year, what will be my demand? So if you know that this is the demand you are going to get it, so then you need to plan right internally for the supply, where to produce, how much to produce, which DC I need to fulfill it first. All those things you need to have. So rough cut plan you need to have against your demand. So this is a midterm plan. So now once you generate the rough cut supply plan, then you need to convert into the actual production plan. So that you will do it under the PPDs. Okay. So here every seconds will matter. So here you are going to plan in which sequence the production should happen. Okay. In which manner you can utilize your capacity optimally. Okay. At the same time, you need to fulfill the demands. You need to convert the production plan. Okay, that you will do it in the PPDS. And the TPVS, transportation and vehicle scheduling. This is like during the production or post the production to move the goods from one node to another node. Okay, optimally, how optimally we can move the production from one node to another node. Okay, that will be dealt in the TPVS and GATP. So whatever we have seen so far, that is DPES and PPDS and the TPVS, this is within the your supply chain network. It is not directly connect with um, the end customer. Okay, you will plan internally, right? But GATP is a module where you interacts with the customer. Okay, customer comes with a requirement, and it will read that requirement, and in GATP it will verify whether I can able to fulfill that requirement or not. If not, if yes, by when I am going to. So basically, it will read your requirement and it will propose the delivery. Okay, by when you are going to fulfill it. So that will be handled under the GATP. So now, during the demand planning, you will come up with certain demand plan. During this S&P, you will come up with certain supply plan, right? So generally, to finalize that demand plan or to finalize the supply plan, we have the S&OP meeting, sales and operations meeting, where you will bring all the stakeholders to finalize the demand plan or to finalize the supply plan. So that we don't have any functionality within this APO to handle this. Offline only we need to do to bring that into the systematic manner. The SAP started working on a S&OP. Okay. So they're trying to develop one Excel kind of interface where you can manage all this S&OP plan. So they later they renamed that to IBP, and slowly whatever the functionalities are there in APO, they're trying to getting into the IBP. So IBP is a cloud solution, and here whatever the DP is there in APO, it is migrated to IBP as IBP for demand, and SNP as S&OP, and supply and response. And then apart from this, we have inventory, and we have supply chain control tower and all. Okay, like that. Um, it migrated from APO to IBP. So here, so execution models like PPDS and the GATP is migrated to S4 HANA as PPDS as ePPDS and GATP as AATP. Okay, so this is how IBP evolved. So before going into in detail of IBP, any doubts here?
Good, Karthik. Karthik,
Yeah, yeah.
one question, so when we go up, um, you laid out the platform of the supply chain management, requirement and supply, right? So that
Hmm.
also, it could be based on the scenario, right? The one which you laid out is for make to order. If you are going for make to stock, we do not have to worry about the retailer and the customer, right? We are only worried about until the distribution channel, right?
Right, right, exactly.
So question here is when you can do these things in standard SAP PP itself, why do we have to use the APO or IBP?
So in the PP, so if I ask in the PP, when you are taking any, you will gather the requirements,
Right.
and as that you will generate the MRP run. Right?
Correct.
Does MRP run consider the capacity?
Depends on if you are maintaining the lead time scheduling.
No, even if you maintain the lead time scheduling,
Yeah.
it won't respect the capacity. It's an infinite plan.
Correct. No,
So it's a
we
it
can
is
also
unconstrained
we can
plan.
also maintain the works under as a finance scheduling, right?
Yeah, but still it won't respect the capacity. Whatever the demand you have, okay. So
Yeah.
if I say my demand is 1,000, then it will try to fulfill the 1,000, irrespective of whether you have the capacity or not. So so here again, so that is directly whatever the demand you have at the so that is at the plant level planning only,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever the demand you got it. But when you have the bigger network, when you have a bigger supply chain network, okay, how you deal, how you manage, how optimally which DC I need to connect. Okay, like if you look at this one only, when certain demand comes to the DC, okay, if we have multiple manufacturing plants are there, which manufacturing plant I need to pick it up so that I can fulfill the demand little earlier with a lesser cost,
Okay.
or which manufacturing plant I need to choose so that it will transport little earlier to me. Okay, that kind of optimal decisions you can't take it in MRP.
Definitely. Yes.
So that you will have it in your in the IBP only, that whether either in IBP or APO. And whatever the planning you do, okay, for each and every planning, there will be certain KPIs, right? So so to measure that KPIs, or if you have those KPIs in the form of charts or dashboards, okay, so that, I mean, in S4 HANA within a PP, you can't able to derive those charts at the dashboard to analyze your supply chain network or to analyze your KPIs of the respective planning. So that you will get it in IBP.
Correct. So exactly the point is now that when we go to the client, because
Mm-hmm.
mostly these AP1 IBP are used for complex level or like the high value products, correct? Products.
You
So
can't say complex, but it's a very user-friendly products only.
mhm,
And the second thing is what you can say when you are opting for IBP,
mhm.
it's a very user-friendly screens you have. So
Okay,
how business planners mostly sits on the Excels only, right?
okay,
So
correct,
there they manage the all kinds of data. So
right,
when it comes to IBP, one of the interfaces is itself Excel. You can
yeah,
do all kinds of planning in Excel only. So easily they can getting into the IBP.
okay, good. Because the reason is sometimes when you go to client, they use both. They use standard MRP as well as they use like APO or IBP. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Convincing them like sometimes like it is a conflict to understand like what product to recommend for like IBP or APO or like MRP. You understand?
Okay.
So sometimes that's the reason I'm asking this.
So whenever your supply chain network is little bigger, I mean, you have the distribution centers in place and the manufacturing plants in place, okay,
Mhm.
and those are interconnected. And in those cases, it's better to go for the either IBP. But when you have a directly, you are getting the demand at the manufacturing plant only. Okay,
Yeah,
so there is no network in place. So it's like directly the customer places the no sales order at the manufacturing plant, and you are going to fulfill it that only. Okay, it's a very straightforward supply chain network, and then you can go with the MRP, but still it is a infinite plan. Okay, you don't have a constraints
right.
in that. So, but when you want to have a constraint plan, it's better to go to the IBP only.
Okay.
Right. So let me quickly share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
It's coming up. Yes.
Right. So if you see, so these are the at the higher level. These are the modules under the SAP IBP. Now, if you start with the demand, okay. So generally, when I say demand planning, okay. So do you handle it in S4 or the PP? You don't have that flexibility. I mean, well designed process is not there in PP, right? So if you want to have that kind of flexibility, then obviously you need to depend upon the other forecasting tools only.
Right.
So in IBP, you have both forecasting and the supply plan. Both the things are there. Okay, that is one more thing you can point it out. So now let us say when I say demand planning. So what is the general the cycle for the demand planning, irrespective of the tool?
So you need to have a requirement, like a demand. So either from like either it could be like your customer order, or it could be from your distribution channel, or it could be based on your like historical sales data or historical like performance like KPIs.
Hmm. Hmm. So if you look at the general demand planning cycles, the first thing is you need to gather the historical data. Okay. So once you gather the historical data, then you need to clean that historical data. Like if there is an outliers are there, or the promotions are there. Okay, due to the XYZ factors that demand in certain periods are not there. Okay. So it doesn't mean that next year also same kind of event will occur to reduce the demand. Not right. So for example, if you look at automobile industry during the COVID situation in the months of March, April, May, there is no sales at all. right? Nobody tends to buy a car or a motorcycle during that period. They main focusing on the primary needs only. So okay, in the next year, if you look at, so the sales are not zero, right? So you cannot blindly follow the sales history for the forecasting plan. So if it is zero in those periods, then what algorithm will do? It will generate the zeros in the next year on the same months, right? That was happened due to the COVID, not actual sales. Those are not actual sales, right? So once you gather the historical data, you need to clean that historical data. So once you clean that historical data, now you need to choose any forecasting formula or any other forecasting algorithm for your sales data to derive the forecast. So now we have a lot of algorithms or a lot of formulas are there. How we can go ahead? So for that you need to understand your sales history pattern. So okay, and if you understand it properly, then you can able to choose the right forecasting algorithm. In IBP for demand, okay, you have a lot of methods are available, okay, to clean the historical data. We have substitute missing value, we have outlier detection and the correction, we have promotional sales slip elimination, okay. With the help of that, you can clean your historical data. Once you clean the historical data with the help of ABC XYZ segmentation, with the help of time series analysis, you will get to know what kind of sales history pattern your product sales history is following, whether it's following the seasonal or it is following the trend or is following the both. Okay, so if you understand those things, you can easily pick up the right models. We have a number of models available in IBP, okay, for the to handle all kinds of data. If it is following the seasonal, then you can pick up the seasonal relevant models to generate the forecast. If it is following the trend, you can pick it up the trend relevant models. Again, here we have a flexibility to go with the best fit forecasting model. So in the trend, you have 5 to 6 models are there. Which one I need to pick it up? So best fit forecast model will help you to pick up the right forecasting model. So once the forecasting is done, every month, I mean, based upon certain threshold values, you are going to finalize one forecasting algorithm, like which is giving the least error. You are going to pick up that and go with that, right? So let us say you are going with the MAP, that is the error method by which you finalized your forecast. So that is a 30%. So every time it should be within that only. If it is moving above the 30%, that means something wrong within the forecast. Then you need to relook into it, right? So for that, you need to monitor the errors and everything. That flexibility is there in IBP for demand. Okay, and IBP for demand can support the life cycle planning of a product, like how you deal with the demand planning when you're introducing a product into the market, how you deal the demand planning when your product is moving out of the market, how you deal the demand planning of a product when it is in the mature situation, okay, in the market. So all kind of stages, okay, of life cycle planning can be handled in IBP for demand. So now, once a demand, you know that this is the demand you are going to get it, so then you need to have a supply plan in place, right? For that, we have both constraint and unconstrained supply planning runs are there, that is heuristic and optimizer. With the help of that, you can optimally generate the supply plan against your demand. Okay, so and apart from the demand and the supply, you have inventory as well. So why inventory is important? Suppose let us say you are doing a two-wheeler business, okay, and you have four branches. One is at the Delhi, one is at the Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Chennai. These are the four branches where you have this motorcycle business. You are keeping the stocks. So at all four locations, you randomly maintain 200 stock. Okay. So now look at the Delhi situation. So at the Delhi, always you are getting a demand more than 200. Okay, you have a stock of 200, but always you will get a demand more than 200. For the rest of the demand, you need to fight with the other supply planners of the other branches to bring the stock to the Delhi location. right? It's like a stock out situation. So now if you let me take a Chennai, okay, there you maintained a 200, but hardly you are getting a demand up to 30 or 40, okay. Unnecessarily you are keeping a high inventory there, which leads to when you are keeping an inventory, so there will be certain inventory holding cost rates, right? For the maintenance or to keep the place is required to the electricity or to maintain it, you need a manpower and everything. All these things are comes under the inventory holding cost rate. Unnecessarily you are keeping high inventory there even though you have the less demand there, okay. So which leads to high inventory holding cost rate. So to avoid this, to both stock out situation or the inventory high inventory holding cost rate, you need to keep the right inventory at the right place, okay. So for that, IBP inventory is there, which will help you to keep the right inventory at the right node, so that you can't going into the stock out situation or the high inventory holding cost rates. Okay. Now on top of this, you have S&OP planning. So S&OP planning is a tactical plan. So what it will do is it will bring all stakeholders together, get handshake with each other to finalize your demand plan or the supply plan. Okay, so it will take the input from the marketing team. It will take input from the um, sales team. It will take input from the finance team. Okay, so based upon that, it will finalize your demand. Okay, when you are getting the license for S&OP, it has the basic functionalities of demand and basic functionalities of the supply. Okay, so now on top of this, you have the supply chain control tower. So whatever the planning you do, okay, so whether it's a demand planning, supply planning, or the inventory planning, okay, to analyze those results in the form of charts or the dashboards or to generate alerts for the monitoring purpose. So then we have supply chain control tower. When you have the supply chain control tower, then you will get the visibility of your supply chain network, end-to-end supply chain network. Okay. So now, if we look at the high-level architecture of IBP, IBP has a two user interface. One is Excel user interface, and the second one is a web user interface. Okay, so as it is available in the web, you can access from anywhere. You can access from the mobile. You can access from the PC, laptop, tab, anywhere you can access it. And the backend for IBP is as for HANA only. And IBP is a purely a planning tool. Okay, to integrate the data into IBP, we have the CIDS interface through which you will get the data, and we have RTI as well, real-time integrations to bring the data into IBP. So you can integrate the data from the non-SAP systems as well with the help of the CIDS. Okay, so it is not mandatory that you always have the source system as SAP. If you have other third-party systems also, you can connect with IBP for the planning.
So CAD is similar to ALE, API, sorry, API integration.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So if you look at the silent key features of the IBP user interface, it comes with the two user interfaces. One is Excel and web. In the web, the applications are in the form of FERI. Okay, so that you can easily access it. You can easily, I mean, the screens are little user friendly. And landscape and installation, it's a cloud-based installation and subscription-based model. So whichever the model you want to have it for your organization process, just get the subscription for it, so that rest of the things the SAP will taking care of it. No need to have the administration set up at your client location. And analytics, yes, it has inbuilt analytics with the help of the SCCT, supply chain and control tower. You have the alerts, dashboards, uh, analytics, and everything will be there. Data model, it is a flexible data model or a unified data model. Okay, both the data models are there. So unified data model is you have one data model which you where you want to do all kinds of planning. Okay, like demand planning, supply planning, and inventory planning. Then you can go with the unified data model. And you have the flexible data modeling as well, where you will do um, one model for one kind of planning, one model for the demand planning, one model for the supply planning, and all. Integration we discussed. We have the CPI and RTI through which you will get the data into IBP. And the features and everything we discussed. Okay, so this is at the high level. Okay, what IBP stands. Okay, so with this, the demo part is completed. So now, if you have any queries, we can discuss.
So one of the question here is another question, Karthik. The IBP, when, for example, if we can monitor the inventory like real time, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever we planned is like not firmed. Okay, still like any changes can happen. In case like a certain inventory is withdrawn or something, do we have an option to like have an automated planning, or we still have to run the planning run?
Yeah, still you need to. I mean, it's not automatically. You need to follow the planning run only. So
Okay,
based on planning run, it will readjust the things.
so it's like a standard way, nightly
Correct.
or weekly run. That's it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
good. So is it very complex like APO, or it's like a very like
No,
you
it's
told me it
not
is
as
very
complex as APO.
uh
So APO screens are the GUI screens, right? Each and multiple fields will be visible to you, right,
Yeah,
when you open it.
the
So
problem
but
with
when
APO is like
you
when you see the screen, it's like reading a lot of big essay.
right, exactly. But IBP is coming in the Fiori applications, right?
Yeah.
So it will be easily, I mean, whichever really require those fields only will be available.
Okay.
And you can easily, the screens are very simplified and you can easily access and you can easily visualize it.
Okay. So you will cover the configuration of IBP also, right? Configuration and integration and those.
Right. So basically, the process is like first we'll try to understand the model configuration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how we can create our own planning model and how we can load the data into our planning model and how we can view the planning model data and everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we'll move on to the demand planning, or inventory planning, or supply planning, all those things.
Okay.
The
So
flow in which
okay, how is like IBP like helps with complex manufacturing, or like this one, the variant configuration, for example, like industry specific, like aerospace. Those are
Mhm.
very complex manufacturing, right? They have a lot of like components, bill of materials used with like different lead times, different like classifications and characteristics. Do they have anything like industry specific for IBP?
Yeah, it supports all kinds of industry, but the variant thing I need to verify once,
Okay.
okay, whether it can support a VC in the general planning. I hope it supports, but let me verify once.
So because you understand, right? One of the material, for example, like we have iPhone 16. iPhone 16 has like three different like the
Yeah,
model.
I know what is variants. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what like I want to
Support,
know. So,
supports, I feel it is support. I mean, whatever the flexibility we have in a PP to handle the variant configuration, the same kind of flexibility is there in IBP, but I didn't come across that kind of requirement. That is the reason I'm not able to answer, but let me verify.
okay, please, because I do work in that atmosphere. I'm trying to like promote myself to like IBP. That's what I
Mhm.
want
Okay.
to get. Also, does this covers like tank planning, block planning, and those
So
things?
the tank planning and the block planning, those are all the PPDS topics.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, okay. So
that won't
that
be
comes
here.
under supply, right?
Yeah, that comes in the PPDS.
Oh, that is not part of IBP.
No, no, not part of IBP.
Okay, so still like there are like gray areas in IBP then. If client is using IBP, still they have to use PPDS. right?
No, that's what when I'm defining the how IBP is evolved. If you look at the PPD moved to S4 HANA and the ATP GATP is moved to S4 HANA, not in IBP,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you want to do the demand planning and the supply planning and inventory planning, then you need to depend on the IBP. But if
Okay.
you want to do the scheduling you can't do it in the IBP. You have to depend on the PPDS only.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Got it. All right. It's good. A very good conversation. Looking forward for the. We'll coordinate with Naveen.
okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, please. Okay. So my question is, are there any prior concepts that are required for us to get to make this course a little bit easier for us to understand? Any prerequisites concepts that is
Uh,
required?
Prerequisite is the basic SCM terminologies like what is meant by sales order, what is planned order, what is
All right. All
production.
right. So operations, if we are good at it, then this will be a
Yeah.
okay. And
If you are aware
so
of the basic SCM thing, then you can. There is no much prerequisite to learn IBP.
okay. Okay. And it was so this was entire flow is completely for goods, right? So is there any application for IBP in the service industry?
So means, can you give an example?
So let's say like for SaaS operations or anything like that, will IBP be useful in that sense?
Uh, I sorry, I don't think so. In the service.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Okay. Okay.
So Karthik, before we go, do they use IBP or some other tool for the preventive maintenance and the maintenance orders and stuff like that? Different.
For the maintenance, obviously we have in S4 we have the PM module, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, so, so we do depend upon the PM module, but the integration you can do it. I mean, whatever the main downtime you have in
Okay.
the resources, like in your terminal's work center, so
Correct.
you can maintain that downtime in the resources in IVP.
Correct. That's where PPDS tank planning comes in help. They say
Yeah,
tanks.
I do understand. Even I have the background of PP, as I mentioned,
Okay.
PP or the PPDS. So, but that will be dealt in the PPDS only. It won't be
Oh,
part of it.
okay. Okay. All right. So how about these things? I think after Chandru mentioned, I got the spare parts planning and those stuff.
So, spare part planning again, it will be comes under the AATP. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so that won't be there in IBP.
Okay. So IBP,
So,
what you are
as
going to
very
subcontract,
clever.
what you're going to. Okay, got it.
So SAP is very clever so that whatever the functionalities are there, right, so they subdivided it. Okay.
Pay money and get it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Uh, that's true. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So Naveen, you can send an email so we can start the class.
Sure, sure. We know. Okay, I'll update you, and we'll try to start from tomorrow or Monday. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and give me a call if
Mm.
you have time. Okay.
Sure, sure. I'll call you.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Karthik. It's very nice session. Thank you.
So, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, sir, we can see your screen. Yes, sir.
So, today's agenda is, I mean, once we decided that IBP is a tool which we need to go for the for our application. So what needs to be done? Okay, and what are the basic and what are the user interfaces which IBP has? Okay, and how to access the same. So that we are going to understand in the today's session. Okay,
Yes. Okay, sir.
The IBP UI, what are the user interfaces and how to access the same. So now, let me quickly share my PPT. Uh, are you able to see the PPT?
Yeah, yes, sir. We can see.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we decided that IBP is a tool we need to go ahead. So then, as per your organizational requirement, you need to get the license from the SAP. So which module you want to use it for IBP, and for that, accordingly, you need to get the license. For example, for your organization, IBP demand is required, then you need to get the IBP demand license, or you want to only S&OP, then get the license for S&OP from the SAP. So depending upon the license which you acquired or which you subscribed, uh, the SAP provide the two instances for you. One is the admin console, and the second one is the IBP. Okay, IBP web application. So admin console is to manage the administration, like to add the users and all, and the IBP instance is to use the IBP applications. So now, as you know, IBP has the two user interfaces. One is the Excel user interface, and the second one is the web user interface. So to access IBP via Excel user interfaces, so there is a prerequisite to access via Excel user interface. There should be an Excel add-in, IBP Excel add-in in place in your system. Okay, then only you can able to access the IBP via Excel add-in. So for that, you need to install the IBP Excel add-in. So that is available in the SAP Marketplace. So there, you need to get download IBP Excel add-in. So you need to uh, go to SAP Marketplace and download the IBP Excel add-in from there. So when you download the IBP Excel add-in, there are two files in it. One is a 64-bit and the second one is a 32-bit. And depending upon your system landscape, you need to choose the right executable file and you need to install it. Okay, once you install it, that IBP button automatically will be added to your Excel, like this. So IBP SAP IBP button will be added into your Excel the moment you install it. Sometimes it won't be automatically added. Then you need to manually add it. So most of the times it will automatically add it, 90% of the time. Sometimes it won't be automatically updated into your Excel why after installation of the Excel add-in. So to add that, so then what you need to do is you need to click on that file, and after clicking on that file, you just need to go to the options. Okay, after clicking on the options, you need to click on the add-ins. From the add-ins, you need to choose this COM add-ins. From the COM add-ins, you need to choose the IBP add-in. So once you check box this, then you can able to see IBP button in your Excel. Okay. So this IBP button will be visible. So this is the path you need to follow. Open the Excel, click on the file and choose the options, and from the options choose the add-ins, and from the add-ins choose the menu, and from there you need to choose the COM add-ins, and the COM add-in you need to check box the IBP add-in. So then it will automatically activate the IBP button in your Excel. Okay. So now you install the prerequisite to access the IBP via Excel add-in. Now, if you have the IBP instance, then you can able to access via Excel. So now to access the IBP Excel add-in, you should have a user in it, right? So you need to have the account in your IBP instance. So for that, admin team will add your user ID in the IBP instance. So once you add the user in the IBP instance, so you will immediately get uh, one mail. Okay, you will receive a activation mail. In the activation mail, you will have the IBP instance URL, and from there you need to activate your account by setting up the password and everything. Okay, so if the password setup is not properly done, then you need to reach back to the administration team for the same, and they will send the mail, and so that you can reactivate the account and set up the password. Okay, so this is how the sample mail looks like. So once you add your ID into IBP instance, you will receive this kind of mail. Okay, once you once you receive this mail, you need to click on this activate account. Once you click on the activate button, okay, it will direct you to this screen. Okay, so there you need to set up your password and everything. Once you set up the password and click on the login, it will direct you to your web IBP web UI screen. Okay, this is how it looks. So IBP will be available in the web and the applications in the form of PD apps. This is how it looks. Okay, so now you got the account in the IBP, and you can able to access the IBP via web, okay, with the user ID, whatever the user ID you got it. Now the same IBP, how we can access from the Excel. Okay, so in order to access IBP from the Excel, as I mentioned, you need to have this IBP button in place. This is how you will get it. You will get it after installation of the Excel add-in. Okay, so to access IBP via Excel, you just click on that IBP button. Once you click on the IBP button, this is how one pop-up will come to log in into the IBP. Okay, so from this button, you need to set up the connection. So there is a three-dotted button here, right? You need to click on the three-dotted button. If you click on the three-dotted button, the connection manager will open. From the connection manager, you need to create a connection. Okay. Here, if you click on the create, so this is how it looks like. There you need to provide the IBP connection and the URL and the respective planning model you need to choose it. More about the planning model we'll see in the coming sessions. So basically, whatever the URL you received, once the user ID is activated, to activate the user ID, you have received one mail, right? In the mail, the URL will be there, IBP instance. That is the IBP URL. Okay, you need to add that URL here and choose the one of the planning model within your IBP, and you can click on the login. Okay, once you create the connection, here you can see. So a lot of connections are there. Whichever the connection you have created, and choose that connection and click on the login button. Once you click on the login button, it will be open your IBP Excel UI. This is how the Excel UI looks like. Okay, so
Yes, sir. So one doubt.
mhm.
You said for IPP demand there is one model, and there is for supply and all there's one model. So is it the same procedure for all of them?
Yeah, yeah. So depending upon what planning model you have created, that planning model only you need to choose it here. So here it is asking for the planning area, right? So
Okay, okay.
that planning model only you need to choose.
Oh, so that ZIBP, so that is one specific model. Is it so? Is it
Right.
like that?
Whatever the name you have given for that model,
Uh, uh,
that
uh, uh.
model only you need to give it here.
Okay, 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 sir. Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes.
So now let us see the same thing in system. So, I mean, once you install the Excel add-in, this is how it looks. I mean, in the Excel, this is the IBP button will be visible. Okay, from the IBP button only, you can able to access your IBP instance. Okay, so first to access the IBP instance via Excel UI, you need to have the user ID in your IBP instance. Okay, so first let us log into the IBP web UI. Okay, so this is the IBP web instance. You just need to log into it. Once you log into your web UI, this is how it looks. Okay, after providing your credential, this is how the web UI looks. Okay, so here all the applications in the form of query you can access depending upon what kind of planning you do and depending upon what planning model you need to do. Accordingly, you need to choose the respective applications and you need to carry out the functions in it. Okay, so this is how the IBP web UI looks like. So now the same IBP web IBP instance, if I want to access via Excel add-in, so what you need to do is you need to get this URL. Okay, so then go here and click on the logon button. So once you click on the logon button, this pop-up will be visible, right? So once you get this pop-up, there is a three-dotted button here, right? Just click on that three-dotted button. So then it will open the connection manager for you. So from the connection manager, you need to create a connection. So when you click on the create connection, it will ask for the connection name. Okay. So let us say my connection name is GT02. Okay, IBP. So let us say this is my connection name. And whatever the URL you have, right, that you need to paste it here. That IBP URL. Okay. So let me copy this. Create a connection. Paste this URL. 301. And here it is asking for the planning area. Just choose the available planning areas, which is there in your IBP instance. More about what is the planning area, we'll discuss it later. Choose any one planning model from this. Okay, let us say G. Some planning model, you need to choose it and click on OK. Okay. Once you click on OK, it will create the connection for you. This is the connection which you have created. So now, if you want to edit this connection, there is a pencil button here. If you want to choose, or if you want to change this connection name, or you want to change the planning model which you want to log in, okay, then you can change that. And this is the copy button. So this is like same IBP instance, but one more planning model you need to choose. Then you can duplicate. If you click on the duplicate, whatever the existing details are there, it will come here. And then later you can change it, what you want to change it from the planning area. Okay. And click on OK. So then it will create one more connection for you. And if you want to delete the connection from the connection manager, then you need to click on this delete button. so that it will be deleted. So now this is the planning model we have selected. Okay, if I want to log into this, just choose that planning, choose that connection, just click on it. Okay, so the connection will be selected and click on the login button. Then it will ask for the authentication. After providing the credentials there, it will log in into your particular planning model.
So this planning model that you said is will not be just created by us, right? So the admin will give us access, and only then we'll be able to.
So the
Uh,
planning model we only created, okay? We have to create it depending upon what kind of planning we have to carry out. So
okay,
based upon that, that planning model we only created.
okay. So can others also work on the same model? That's my question.
Yes.
So
So
oh,
suppose you have created one planning model. Generally, the planning model will be represented by a planning area. Okay.
okay.
So suppose you created one planning area and
Mm-hmm.
you are logging into that planning area via Excel. Okay.
Okay.
Then you need to create a connection and you need to provide that IBP URL and you need to choose that respective planning area and click on log on. And once you log on, this is how it looks.
Yes.
So now the same landing area, I can also access it if I
Okay.
have credentials for the same IBP instance.
Okay. So I should send that link URL link.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So it is a commonly used planning area for all
Oh,
the users.
okay. So let's say for one project, if this one model is there, so everyone will have the same access to the same model
Right.
or in the project. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Okay.
the project there will be one or two planning areas only. So depending
Mhm.
upon what kind of planning we do. So then obviously whoever is the users in your organization so has to access the same planning model.
Right. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Once you logging into your IBP, this is how the screen looks. Okay. So multiple sections are there. We'll discuss about this later.
Sir, one more question is like, can we use multiple planning models with the same URL?
Yeah. Under the same URL only, same IBP instance, you can create multiple planning models. So you can
Okay.
see this is an app for the, as I mentioned, planning model will be represented by a planning area, right? So you can
Yes.
see around 469 planning areas are there. So this is the sandbox system. That is the reason you are seeing that many planning models. Okay. But when it comes to the actual organizational IBP instance, you don't find this many. There will be five max. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now you understand, right, how to access the IBP instance via web and via Excel. So now let us understand what is a planning model. So what is the planning model? Let us try to understand that. So if I say I want to do the or the demand planning, let us say I want to carry out the demand planning, and this is my if I say this is my sales history, and with this, please carry out the demand planning. If I give this information, will you able to carry out the demand planning? Then immediately you will ask, right, for which product that the sales history is 100, at which location you have that sales history is 100, for which customer that sales history is 100, and during which period you are having that 100 sales history. You need this information, right? So this we call it as master data. Okay, the product, location, customer, and all. So now to describe this master data, we need a characteristics. Chandru, if I ask you, where are you from? Okay, how you are going to describe your location? You are going to tell that I am from so and so region, so and so district, so and so country. I mean, so and so state and so country, like that, right? With the help
Yes,
of
yes.
those characteristics, you are going to describe that where exactly you are from, right? Similarly, for any product, if you want to describe, so what is the product ID? Okay, what is the product family? What is the product brand? Okay, what is the SKU name and all, right? So to describe the master data, we need a characteristics, right? If I say this, product ID has product ID, product description, product family, a brand of the product, like this. So for the location also, location ID, location description, the region, country, like this. So these are all called, what are the characteristics which you use to describe your master data is called as attributes. Okay. So now to define exactly your transactional data, that is your sales history, you need a level. That means for which product, at which location of which customer, during which week you are having the sales history. To define exactly, to position your data exactly for the respective combination, you need a level, right? So that level only, we call it as a planning level. The level at which you are going to manage your data. Okay, that we call it as a planning level. So here, for example, for the product, for the so and so location of so and so customer, okay, of so and so time, okay, you are having a sales history of 100. Okay, so that means for the product P1 at location L1 of customer C1 during the week 01 of 2025, I'm having a sales history of 100. Right? So this level we call it as a planning level. So now to store the master data, we have the master data objects, and to store the time, we have this time profile. So now to keep this transactional data, like the sales history or the forecast and everything, we need an object. So that object only we call it as a key figures. So the object which we require to store the transactional data, that we call it as a key figure. Here the key figure name is sales history. Okay. Now it has some meaning, right? If I say I'm having a sales history of 100 for P1 product at annual location of customer C1 during week 1 of 2025, I'm having a sales history of 100. Now it has certain meaning, right? Earlier I said simply this, but now I know that for which product of it, at which location, and for which customer, during which time I'm having the sales history of 100. Right? So, for any tool, when you want to carry out any kind of planning, first you need to have the master data and the transactional data, right? So, to keep the master data and transactional data, you need a structure, okay? So, that structure only, we call it as a planning model, okay? That structure we model or will represent by a planning area. So this planning area will be created with the help of the master data and the time. Okay, whatever the time you are saying, that we call it as a time profile. So with the help of the master data and the time profile, will form the planning area. As master data is available, then you can have the attributes in it, because master data will be formed with the help of the attributes. Now, with the help of attributes, will form the planning level. So you can create the planning level within the planning area. So now against the planning level, you can create the key figures, right? So now when I see the structure planning area, Now I can able to store the master data and the transactional data, right? So this structure, we call it as a planning area. So for any doubts?
Yes, sir. So key figures will be like the combination of all the attributes that is tagged along with the historical data. Is am I understanding it correctly, sir?
No, key figures is the objects which we use to store the transactional data, whether it can be history, sales history, or corrected sales history, or the forecast, or the planned order, production orders. These are all stock. These are all transactional data, daily transactional data. To keep those transactional data, we use this object called key figures.
Okay, okay. So
So,
one example.
but to keep the transactional data, okay, so
Oh,
to define the transactional data, to define that key figure, you need to have a planning level. Okay. At which level you have that sales history. For that, one level is required. So that level only we call it as a planning level.
mm. Okay, okay. All right, sir.
So the planning model, it describes the structure of your plan in terms of the data and the calculation. It defines how the data is stored, calculated, and aggregated in your system. Okay. So in the planning model, there are five different planning model entities are there with which you are going to form your planning model. So first thing is an attribute. Okay. Attribute, it is an object which we use to describe your master data like product ID, location ID, customer ID, and all. Okay. Region, location description, or the product description, product family. These are all the attributes. Now, with the help of attributes, we form the master data. Those master data is like product, location, customer, resource, all those things. Okay. And then the time profile. The time profile is like it's an object where you are going to define the origin of the planning, like from which origin to which year to which year you want to do the planning. That origin you are going to define, and within that horizon how many hierarchies you have, like are you going to plan at the day level, week level, or the month level, or the yearly level. So depending upon your planning, if you want to carry out all the kinds of hierarchies, then you need to maintain all the hierarchies in your time profile. Okay. So now with the help of the master data and the time profile, we'll create a structure called planning area. Okay. So within the planning area, you are going to create a planning level. So it's like a combination of your attributes only. Okay. So planning level is a level at which you are going to keep your transactional data. This planning level will be formed with the help of the attributes. Okay. So once you create the planning level, against the planning level, you can able to create your key figures. Okay, to have the alternative plans, okay, to want to have multiple plannings which are with the different sets of data, then we'll create a versions. In one version, one set of data. In another version, one set of data with one set of key figures. If you want to have alternative plannings, then you need to create that many versions. Okay. So now let us go in detail one by one. So first, let us go into the attributes. So attribute means it's a characteristics to describe your master data, right? So now in IBP, there are four different types of attributes. One is nvarchar, second one is a decimal, third one is an integer, and fourth one is a timestamp. Okay, so these are the four different types of attributes which we have in IBP. So what is nvarchar? Nvarchar, it can store the alphanumerical values. Okay. And decimal, it will, as the name indicates, it will keep the decimal values 2.0, 2.5, 4.5, like that. integer, actual integer value it will store, like a pin code to keep the pin code. So certain pin codes are there, 560001, something like that. So that integer you need to keep it. Timestamp means the time exactly. So 23, 23 hours, 59 minutes, or 59 seconds. Okay. To keep that time, okay, you need an attribute. That attribute type is a timestamp. Okay. So in IBP, the data or the characteristics can be of any kind of this format. So that is the reason in IBP these four types of attributes are there. Depending upon your requirement, you need to choose the respective attribute type and with which you can create your attributes. Okay. Now, once you create an attributes, with the help of attributes, you form the master data. Okay. There are five different types of master data which we have in IBP. One is a simple master data. Second one is a compound master data. Third one is a reference master data. Fourth one is a external master data. And fifth one is a virtual master data. Okay. Simple master data is um, so what we are calling, right? Location, customer, product, resource. These are all simple master data. Compound master data is the combination of your one or two simple master data. When you're clubbing your product master data and the location master data, or when you're clubbing your location master data and the resource master data. So it's like when you're combining two or more simple master data, then we'll form the compound master data. So that means let us say you have a master data called M1. So this will be formed with the help of attributes ATT1, 2, 3. Okay. With this attribute, you form this master data. And out of this will be a, let us say ATR1 is my key attribute with which you are going to describe your entities in your master data uniquely. Sorry. So let us say employee is the master data. So employee ID will be your key attribute. So with the help of employee ID only, right, you will be uniquely identified within your organization. So for any kind of master data, there will be one key attribute. Okay. So now let us say one more master data, M2. It has its own master data. Sorry, ATR 4, ATR 5, and ATR 6. And out of this, ATR 4 is my key attributes. So these are all simple master data. M1 is a simple master data, M2 is a simple master data. So compound master data means combination of this. So let us say compound master data, M1 underscore M2. Okay, so this will be formed by combining these attributes. So out of this, key attributes automatically will come ATR1 and ATR4. On top of that, which are the attributes you want to have in this compound master data, you can have that. Okay, so basically you are clubbing, for example, M1 is a product master data and M2 is a location master data. This is product ID and location ID. So in the compound master data, location product, then you have the product ID and location ID. On top of that, product description and the brand and the region and location description. Whatever the additional attributes you want to have it, you can have it here. Okay, but key attributes should be there. Okay, in the reference master data. So reference master data is like whatever the master data you created with the subset of attributes, you create one more master data. So now when you're creating a subset, you can give a reference of the main master data so that you can when you upload the first master data, So automatically it will update the data into your second master data. That means I have formed this master data with the help of these attributes. Okay. So now I want to create one more master data which is similar to this with the help of the same kind of attributes. Here I'm having ATR1 and ATR3. Right? Same kind of attributes only there. So now when you are creating this master data, I will create this master data as a reference master data to M1. Okay. So then whenever you upload the records in this master data, then automatically as the same as I referred M1 to the M3, automatically these records also will get updated. Okay. That's a referenced master data. No need to upload separately for the M3. So whatever the records are there, that will only be updated in the M3 master data as well. Okay. So simple component the reference master data we discussed so far. When
Yeah.
next,
So for reference, so it can be done for simple as well as for compound, right,
yeah,
sir?
you can
Uh,
do that.
okay, okay. Thank you.
So now when you create a product as a simple master data, product is the master data, and you define that master as a simple. So now to upload the record, the product details, product one, product two, product three. Okay, so those details when you're uploading it, you can upload either manually or you can maintain it manually or you can load it from the source system. Okay, it will allow all the options. But when you create a master data with the external type, okay, so it has to come from the source system only. Manually, you can't able to key in the data. Okay, so this data comes from the data source of the source system. You don't have the flexibility to key in the data manually. That is called as external master data. Okay, clear?
Yes, yes. So for external, it is not up to us to uh, create, but it does it depend on the source systems? Is that it?
Okay, that's so. Let us say you have the S4HANA system, the
Mm-hmm.
product details or the material details. So material is
Mm-hmm.
the product we call it as. All the material has to come from your S4HANA system.
Okay.
Yeah, that CIDS interface.
So any changes done there will reflect in the external master data.
Right here in IBP. So whatever the
Okay.
material, if you want to change it, you need to change it in S4. Then you need to load it. Then automatically those changes will be reflected here. But
Okay.
you can't manually change it here.
Okay. 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 All right. All right. When will this be useful, sir? At, external.
So like I mean, when you have a source system like S4HANA, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So and majorly this external master data will use it for the order-based planning. So basically,
Okay.
in IBP there are two types of planning. One is a time series planning, and the second one is a order-based planning. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
In the order-based planning only, we'll use the external master data.
Okay. For quick time, for quick responses.
Not exactly. You will get to know more about it when you're going into it. For the time
Okay.
being, understand that for the order-based planning, we'll use the external master data.
Okay.
But what
Okay.
is order-based and all, we'll see that in the coming sessions.
All right.
Right. So the next kind of master data is virtual master data. It is similar to the compound master data only. But here, when you are forming the compound master data, the key attributes of the respective individual master data should be there in the compound master data, right? So here we formed the compound master data. Then whatever the key attributes are there, that has to come. Then on top of that, whatever the additional attributes you want to have it, you can have it, right? But when it comes to virtual master data, so you can combine, okay, any simple master data with the help of certain join condition, and the attributes in the virtual master data need not to be a key attributes. Okay, it is not mandatory that you need to keep the key attributes. You can keep any attributes you want to use it. Okay, you can keep the non-key attributes as well. So it is similar to compound only. Here also you will combine two or more simple master data. But here in the virtual master data, you will combine those simple master data with the help of certain join condition. And you can keep whatever the attributes you want to have it in your virtual master data, whether it's a key or the non-key. So there is no restriction. Okay.
So one doubt here is like if the compound master data we have to create, it should have two key attributes, and the virtual master data doesn't have any attributes. Is that so?
Yeah, I mean, when you are creating the compound master data, it should have a key attributes. Suppose you are combining two simple master data, then it should have the two key attributes minimum, right? And
So
normally,
compound master data is the only master data have two key attributes.
not exactly two. It's like whatever the key attributes you have in the simple master data, same key attributes has to be there in the compound.
Okay, sir.
But in the virtual, it's not mandatory that you should have a key attributes. You can have it or you may not have it.
That's the key difference between compound and virtual.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay. So let's say, for example, I am combining four simple master data if needed. So four key has to be there. Four key attributes has to be there
Right, right,
for compound, but it's not necessary for virtual.
right, right.
All right.
So now let us move on to the next, that is the time profile. So a time profile is an object where you will define the horizon which you are going to consider your planning and the hierarchies which you want to have it in your planning. The hierarchies can be a day, week, calendar week, month, quarter, year, and everything. Okay. So from 2020 3 to 2029, this is the horizon I'm going to consider for my planning. Then you need to create your time profile with that horizon. And in that, you need to choose the hierarchies. What are the hierarchies? You can have it. So these are the possible hierarchies which you have in IBP. So which hierarchies you want to have in your planning, then all those hierarchies respectively, you need to select it while creating the time profile. Okay. So do you know the difference between what is calendar week and the technical week? Anyone?
Technical week is that without the Saturday, Sunday, I'm not sure. Is it like that?
Not exactly. If you take so so year will start with the week one, week two, week three, week four, like that, right? And every month has 5 weeks. Okay, so 4 weeks completely it contains the same a month. Okay, at the starting of the month or the ending of the month. Okay, 1 week will be commonly shared between the months. Right. So like, so if I say my week starts from the Sunday, okay, Sunday to Saturday, that will be my week, right? So if my let us say month starts from the Sunday, okay, and so one to, let us take one calendar, then you will understand. Just a second. you see this calendar, okay? So, exactly when the March month started, it started in the Saturday here, right? And it is ended on the 31st on Monday. Okay, so let us say this is a week 9. Okay, this is week 10, calendar week 10, calendar week 11, calendar week 12, calendar week 13, and calendar week 14. Okay, but when I say what are the calendar weeks, what are the weeks specific to the 2025 of March? This calendar week, which is shared by the February month and the March month. And this calendar week will be shared by the March month and the April month, right? So if you specifically ask, what are the weeks specific to the your March month? Okay, so then it's from here to where is this? Sorry, yeah, from here to here, right? So whatever the calendar week, if you subdivide this into, so this calendar week from 20th to 28, one part, and 1 is the second part. And here if you see 31st is the one part, and 1 to 5 the second part. Okay, so whatever the calendar weeks you have, if you subdivide it into the two parts, okay, then you can able to tell that, let us say my calendar week here, it is week 9. So week 9A is 23 to 28, and week 9B is 1. And here if you see, this is, let us say, week 13. Week 13A contains 30 and 31. Week 13B contains 1 to 5. Now, if I ask what are the months of the March, then I can say that week 9B, 10th week, 11th week, 12th week, 13th week, and in the 13th week, especially 13A only. 13B is for the April, not for the March. Okay, if you are able to define exactly the weeks of your respective month, then you will go for the technical week. You understood? So the technical weeks and the calendar weeks makes a difference only at the starting of the month or the ending of the month, because that will be shared between the months, right? Those weeks.
So it's more like
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we are here. Sir. We are here.
Right. So with the help of the technical weeks, you can exactly tell what are the weeks which are belongs to the specific month. Okay. So calendar weeks will be subdivided into the technical weeks. So here the calendar week and the technical will be the same for these weeks. But the difference makes only at the either starting of the month and the ending of the month only. Okay.
Right. This is to prevent any confusion while transactions, is it? Because
When you are clubbing the data from the week to the month, when you're aggregating the data from the week's data to the monthly data, then what exactly the weeks we need to consider for the respective month.
okay. So there shouldn't be any overlap of data when converting into month.
Right.
Okay.
So I can't say that my March month will be the week 9 to week 13,
Because
because
over.
one day of week 9 is belongs to the 5 days of the week 9 is belongs to the February, and here 4 days belongs to the April. I can't completely consider these 2 weeks as a March weeks. Right? Partially, some part of the week only I need to consider as a March.
And it is differentiated with the A and B.
Right. So that is we call it as a technical weeks.
Technical. Okay. So usually in the beginning of a month will be B, in the ending of the month it will be A, generally.
I mean, we divide it into the two parts: starting
Okay.
week of the month and this ending week of the month.
Okay. Okay. Sir. Yeah.
Clear?
Yes. Yes, sir. So every other time is going to be the same for year, quarter, month. The main difference will come in calendar week and technical week.
Right, right, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Sir.
Okay. So the next object is the planning area. So now with the help of the master data and the time profile, we'll create a planning area. Okay. So now once you create the planning area, so within the planning area, we create a planning levels, right? So this we'll discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll wind up the session for today here. We'll continue in the tomorrow session from here. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
So
Okay.
any doubts with respect to the today's session?
So,
How can we access the recording, sir?
Yeah, we'll share that recording.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
and this little not it's not for me it's not clear with that difference between that key figures and key attributes. Maybe a little more time I require to understand it properly.
So basically, when you there are two types of master data. Sorry, two types of data. One is a
Mm,
master data, and the second one is a transactional data.
mm,
Right?
mm,
Master data is a somewhat constant, which we don't change
mm,
on a
mm.
regular levels, like product, location, customer. These are all the master data.
Yes, yes.
So, and the transactional data is like the product stock, product sales orders that will vary on daily basis. Okay, the
Yes.
stock of the product in your warehouse or the plant,
Mm.
it will vary,
Invent.
right,
Mm.
based upon the stock comes and goes, right? Every
Yes.
day has its own figures. It will change with respect to the time.
Okay, okay.
The sales orders every day it have that many sales. Okay, so if you
Mm.
register 10 sales order, then 10 will be there for that particular day, and the
Okay.
11, 12, it will vary, right? So that is the
Yeah.
transactional data. So to keep your master data and the transaction data, we need an object, right?
Mm.
So to keep the transactional data, whatever the object we call it as, that is a key figure. Okay. Key figure
Okay.
is an object to store your transactional data. That is a stock, sales order, planned order, sales.
Mm.
Okay, that is a key figure.
Okay, okay.
So your
So,
master data, whatever the object we call it as, that is product, location, customer, that will keep it under the master data.
so like demand consensus is a
Key figure.
figure. Okay.
Transaction data.
Okay, okay. All right, got it, sir. Yeah, understood. And even average stock, all those things will come under key figures.
Right, exactly.
I mean, average price. Price will be a part of this.
Yeah, price if it is varying, then I can call that as also transactional data. On daily basis, if it is varying, the price.
Okay, okay. All right, all right. Okay. Yeah, got it now. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll connect tomorrow at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, then bye bye.
And so when will we have access to the server?
Yeah, that will confirm. I will confirm.
Okay, sure, sure. Okay, okay.
Okay, then bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.